Welcome back to Transport Fever, I'm Tech Hench. So today we're going to continue with the work that I started in the last episode. If you've not seen the last episode, why not go and check that out before you watch this episode? But basically what we've done so far is build the main town that's on top of the mountain. And we've also built the road that comes down from the mountain, which is supposed to look a little bit like the Stelvio Pass. If you don't know what the Stelvio Pass is, I have put a picture of it on my Facebook page and Twitter account, I think. But basically what it is it's supposed to be one of the greatest driving roads in the world. Top Gear did go there a few years back. Now it's not going to look exactly the same, just because some of the tools in Transport Fever aren't always the easy to use, which means sometimes it's not always that easy to build these types of things. So as you already can see, I'm going to do a lot of terrain manipulation again this episode. This time actually on the other side of the road. So this is actually next to one of the cities that we've got, which off the top of my head I can't remember which one it is, but it's one that we used already. So again, we're using the terrain tools quite a bit here, which is probably going to take a little while to do. So using the same technique as I've used previously by raising one big column up in the middle and then making it flat to that column. I find that's the easiest way to do it. One thing I am going to do in this episode is also kind of do the bit that's kind of the valley that's in between these two mountains. What it will probably have is a few little lakes and things like that, which I don't think the Stelvio Pass has actually got, so it will differ a little bit there, but that's okay because I think it'll still look quite good. Probably still not going to get a chance to finish this whole area off in this episode, just because it's taken quite a long time to do all this. And what I want to do once I've done this, I don't actually want to leave it as just grass. I will probably come back and make it dirt and possibly some rock and things like that, just to give it a little bit more texture. And then what I do also want to do is put just a few little trees around and maybe a few bushes and things like that. What I do also want to do is put a few fences and things like that around the turns on the main road. So I'm probably actually going to use the crash barrier that we've got that comes with the fence mod, just because I think that probably makes the most sense to be there. I think on the real road it's actually a fence, or kind of a rock fence or something like that, which we haven't really got anything in the game that's the same, so I think a crash barrier will look pretty good, so that's what I'm going to use there. One other thing I actually want to do as well is actually put in some kind of tourist attraction. So I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last episode. So at the top of the mountain, I want to kind of put a place where you can park up and actually go and look at the view. So maybe somewhere to take a camera or something like that. I'm hoping as well that then I can use the inbuilt camera tools and maybe take some nice photos of the area. I think looking down into the valley and kind of like that would look quite good. So just hopefully coming towards the end of terrain manipulation, or the terrain modification, whatever you want to call it. I really do hope they improve these terrain tools when they bring out the new update that's coming out hopefully in the summer. I want a brush that's really strong and a lot bigger, that can make huge changes in one go instead of having to do what I'm doing here. I know this is actually sped up, so it's kind of 3 times quicker than what it normally is. I normally have the speed 3 times faster for the time lapse. So it probably took me a good probably 2 or 3 hours to do all this in real time. Probably should be something that shouldn't take you any more than like 5 or 10 minutes. So one of the brushes that or the terrain tools that I've not actually used before is the one that makes the ground a little bit rougher. So you will see me in a little bit just actually use that, just to make it a little bit more realistic, the hills and the mountains and things like that. So at the minute they always end up being really smooth, which obviously is not realistic at all. So I may actually go back and use that on some of the other bits I've built. So certainly around the Glenfinnan Pass and the other big mountain that I built way back if you've not actually seen the big mountain that I built, it was part of the coal mine, or a coal mine that I put in. I'll put a link in that in the top thing, whatever you call it. It's not actually got a name. I think I did put it out to give it the name of the mountain, but it's not actually named. So still open. If you've got an idea of what the mountain should be named, drop it in the description. Nothing too rude, obviously. But if I think it's any good, I will certainly call the mountain after that. So what I'm going to do once I've done all this terrain work is actually put a road around it. So the road that I've already put in, so I think I've only done the bridge so far. So the bridge over the lake. We'll connect that up to, you can just see it in the background there, the road that's there. So I probably am going to put an island in there. Oh, I'll kind of coming to the end now of the terrain bit. I apologise for making you all sit through all this. I probably could have sped it up a little bit more, but sometimes if you make the time lapse too quick, you don't actually see what's going off. So yeah, so that's the end of that terrain bit anyway. So these are the little lakes I'm going to put in. So as you can see there, I'm just putting a little bit of water. Probably haven't actually put enough in, so I will probably come back and do a little bit more. And just make the ground maybe a little bit more uneven in places. So I did want the road to have a few twists and turns in it. So because it is supposed to be the greatest driving road, you would want a few tight turns and things like that. So going around the mountain that is coming up in a second, I am going to just use a tunnel. So I did want it to go around just the edge of the mountain. I thought having a tunnel there would just make it something a little bit different. So it is going to probably raise up a bit like so. And I can't remember if I did it in this episode, but I will come back and just smooth all that out. I don't want it to be such a great kind of dip next to the road. So I'll probably just make it so it's level with the actual mountain. So just a few final twists and turns. Maybe actually on one episode it'd be quite good if I built a racetrack or something in it. Obviously it wouldn't ever work. Possibly I could do that. That would be quite interesting. Maybe have it just as a tourist attraction. Because I could use the road that's already in the game. I've got crash barriers and things like that now, so I might have it. I think that's possibly a good idea. If you think that's a good idea, why don't you just drop a comment down in the comments below. So I think I've improved greatly in making them bridges, so that's the bridges now look much better than I first created when I very first started the big build. Thanks to all your guys' help for suggesting how to build the bridges much nicer. They're much smoother now. So just connect all this up. And that's pretty much the road pretty much done. So these areas here, yeah, just want not to be quite as smooth as I set them already. So I'm just going to go around and use the brush just to make it a little bit more interesting, I suppose. And what I'd not done is filled the little gaps between the road there. So there was a big kind of drop next to the road. I'm just going to smooth all that out and bring the terrain up so it kind of is level with the road. I do still want quite steep drops from the road. I think it is starting to look much more interesting now, the terrain. So yeah, so this is the tool that I've never really used, but it just gives it a little bit more kind of definition in the ground. I think the whole map normally has that applied to it, because normally none of the map when it's first generated is completely smooth. Hopefully you agree, it does make it look much nicer. So I probably am going to put a couple of lakes over the back, from where we can just see there, and probably some more over the other side as well, just so we can make, when you're on top of the mountain and that little area that I said that I was going to make for taking pictures, just when you look down the valley, it looks really nice. So as I'm painting or doing all this, it is making the terrain a little bit different anyway, and obviously it's putting some rock in. Like I said earlier, I will come back and I think I might get rid of all the grass and then just make it dirt and rock. Or I might at least give that a go just to see what it looks like. If it doesn't look any good, possibly won't do that. Possibly in the next episode as well, I will maybe have a go, or I'm going to have a go anyway, at least putting the cable car in. And if it looks good, I'll put it in the next episode. If not, you will never see me mention it again. You'll never hear me mention it again. So one thing I do find really good on this is, because we're using unlimited money, doing all this terrain work costs an absolute fortune. You'd probably never actually be able to do it in a regular game, unless you let the game run for ages and then you just built up billions and billions of pounds or dollars. So as we come towards the end of this episode, make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss the final part of the best driving road ever. Make sure you give the video a like as well if you've enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out. Not checked out my mods video, go and check that out. It just shows some of the vehicles that I've been using so far in the big build, and it's the second mods video that I've done, so why not go and check both of them out. I'm sure you'll find them interesting. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.